Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda.
Hare Krishna, welcome. Here we are. Bhagavad-gita, here it is, because Bhagavad-gita, as it is, by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and my name is Labanka Latika. We are reading the 6th chapter, which is called Dhyana Yoga. We are coming to the text 31, which I believe is, this is quite a long chapter. Let me see. Yeah, the last verse is 47, so I don't know what it makes it. 3/4 or something. But we hear about the yogi. And the yogi, what a yogi does is meditation. Of course, there are different forms of yoga, but when we think of yoga, this is what we think of. A yogi who sits down and meditates and focuses. And therefore, all these instructions are valid for all the forms of yoga, actually, because the point of yoga is to connect with the Supreme. And for that yoga of meditation, it is extra important to focus the mind, because the mind is the only thing you really have to work with at that stage. Whereas we are performing Bhakti Yoga, which also contains meditation, but that meditation is greatly helped by active devotional service and also by actively taking shelter of Krishna's mercy. So we're not just depending on ourselves. Nevertheless, all the instructions to that regular yogi are very useful and applicable to all forms of yogis. So I'm reading text 31 today. Text 31. Sarva bhutas sthitang yomang bhadyate katvamasthitaha sarvatha vartamanopi sa yogi maye vartate. Such a yogi who engages in the worshipful service of the Supersoul, knowing that I and the Supersoul are one, remains always in me in all circumstances. So yes, that's the real point here for the yogi. First, there is process, which is quite a tough process. It's not something anyone can do, actually, because it's very demanding. You have to first of all do all the yoga exercises. We all know about the yoga exercises, but they are not an end unto themselves. They prepare the yogi by slowing down the breathing so that the life becomes longer, because this yoga is not a quick, easy fix. Focusing the mind, controlling the other senses so they don't pull away, and also creating such an environment that you can sit down for hundreds of years simply focusing meditation. But when you get there, you can realize Supersoul, which is Krishna's special manifestation that follows us around in this world, situated in our heart. So if we can turn into the heart and kind of control our mind completely, we can see Supersoul there. But then the next step is to, what do we do when we see Supersoul? Because it's quite possible to make the mistake to think, this is self-realization. There is a Sanskrit expression, tattvam asi, I think, which means I am that. No, you're not that. That is God, and you're His servant. So we don't want to make that mistake. And then, when you see Supersoul, you see, engage in worshipful service to Supersoul, knowing that I and the Supersoul are one. They remain with Krishna, and that is the perfection of every form of yoga. I will read the purport. A yogi who is practicing meditation on the Supersoul sees within himself the plenary portion of Krishna as Vishnu, with 4 hands holding conch shell, wheel, club and lotus flower. The yogi should know that Vishnu is not different from Krishna. Krishna in this form of Supersoul is situated in everyone's heart. Furthermore, there is no difference between the innumerable Supersouls present in the innumerable hearts of living entities, nor is there a difference between a Krishna-conscious person always engaged in the transcendental loving service of Krishna and a perfect yogi engaged in meditation on the Supersoul. The yogi in Krishna consciousness, even though he may be engaged in various activities while in material existence, remains always situated in Krishna. This is confirmed in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, and we have the summary study of that by the name of Nectar of Devotion available, that Srila Prabhupada translated. Srila Rupa Goswami says, Nikhilasvapyavasthasu jivan mukta sociati. A devotee of the Lord always acting in Krishna consciousness is automatically liberated. In the Narada Pancharatra, this is confirmed in this way. Dikkala dhyanavachine Krishna cheto vidhayacha tanmayo bhavati kshiprang jivo brahmani yojayet. By concentrating one's attention on the transcendental form of Krishna, who is all-pervading and beyond time and space, one becomes absorbed in thinking of Krishna and then attains the happy state of transcendental association with him. So it's not so easy, right? Concentrating one's attention on the transcendental form of Krishna, who is all-pervading and beyond time and space. How do you even think of that? How do you even grasp that concept? But we don't really have to grasp that concept because we're unable to. We're limited. We cannot contain the all-pervading beyond time and space. But we can hear about Krishna. We can hear about Krishna's pastimes. We can engage in devotional service. We can practice Bhakti Yoga to control our mind and senses, not in order to become very powerful yogis, but as, how do I put this? It doesn't exactly assist us in devotional service to control the mind, but it removes the obstacles. Because an uncontrolled mind, it's like living with your enemy. It's like keeping your enemy inside your own head. So you want to focus on something important or something pleasurable or something about your life. And then someone is in your head yelling at you, no, don't do that, don't do that. And that mind can take different forms. Some people's it's like an active enemy. There's constantly a voice in the head that says, you're useless, you're worthless, you don't deserve that, nobody loves you, you won't succeed at anything. That's one way. The other way is the mind saying, oh, you're so lovely, nobody appreciates you as you deserve. You're so much better than them. That also is really bad because then you can't really develop your devotional humility. And then there's the other one, just distracting you. Oh, you want to think about Krishna. But what about this? What about a little ice cream? What about a little gossip? What about a little this or that? So all these different forms, of course, it's not limited. I'm just bringing things up on top of my head that I could think of. Ways that the mind distracts us, and even more subtle, just the way that the mind encourages us to continue our identification with this material body, because that's where it starts, right? I'm in Sweden. We had an election, but we do not have a government because too many different parties, the proportions of them became such that it's very difficult for them to come to a conclusion who's going to cooperate with whom. But we see the process. Some people have to make that to vote, to make that choice based on I am this body is born in Sweden, therefore I am Swedish, therefore everyone who's not Swedish is my enemy. No, that's not Krishna consciousness, really. Because we read the Bhagavad-gita, we read the Bhagavatam, so many different things comes up. But the king, when you have a Krishna conscious government, it's run by a king, not just somebody who happened to be born in the family of a king, but someone who has the qualifications. So, you can also run it by democracy. That's fine. The point is, how do you govern? And the king or whoever runs the place is supposed to look after his praja, his own people. But ja doesn't just mean people, it also means those who took birth. So it means all the people, all the animals, all the plants, and not just whoever took birth on your little square foot of land where you identify, but whoever is there. In the Vedic times, the king would rule the whole planet, and he would respect that different parts would have different traditions and so on. but he would give them an example, and would give them the principles that were not contrary to Dharma. So everybody may not be, everybody may not be entirely motivated to aim for the highest spiritual perfection, but nobody was working against it. That is actually the duty of the king, to organize society in such a way that everyone is engaged, everyone is protected, and everybody has access to spiritual life. And whatever gets in the way of that, the king is supposed to protect his country against it. So, yes, from one thing to another, right? So, yes, concentrating on the form of Krishna, all-pervading, beyond. So, yes, how do we do that? How do we concentrate on that, which is beyond our ability to conceive of? Well, we do it by bhakti yoga, because that we don't have to be so powerful that we conquer Krishna. We just have to reach out to Krishna and take shelter of Krishna, and he is able to show himself to us because he's that powerful. So our process is, we meditate on Krishna's name, we perform service to Krishna and the devotees of Krishna who represent Krishna, and we hear of him. We hear the Bhagavad-gita, where we hear what Krishna is saying, and we hear the Bhagavatam, where we hear about Krishna's activities. And right now we're in the month of Kartik, and we are singing about Lord Damodar every day. And then we hear about Krishna when he's a little baby, and his mother is doing her job. She's churning butter at the point, and Krishna comes and says, "No, Mom, I'm hungry now." So Mother Yashoda feeds him and puts him down because the milk is boiling over on the stove, and she has to go. Krishna gets upset and breaks the butter point and makes all kinds of a mess, and Mother Yashoda is then chasing him and chastising him. And when we hear about this, how God, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, all-pervading beyond time and space, becomes bound by the love of his mother, that's what inspires us in devotional service. That's what inspires us in bhakti. Krishna consciousness is the highest state of trance in yoga practice. This very understanding that Krishna is present as Paramatma in everyone's heart makes the yogi faultless. The Vedas, Gopalatapani Upanishad, confirms this inconceivable potency of the Lord as follows. Ekopi san bahudhayo vabhati. Although the Lord is one, he is present in innumerable hearts as many. Similarly, in the Smriti Shastra it is said, Eka eva paro Vishnu sarva vyapena sangshayaha aishvaryad rupam ekang cha suryavat bahudheyate. Vishnu is one, and yet he is certainly all-pervading. By his inconceivable potency, in spite of his one form, he is present everywhere as the sun appears in many places at once. So yes, one condition that is needed in order to make progress in Krishna consciousness, in spiritual realization, is to understand that we don't know everything. I mean, these kind of things, we can't just sit down. Like sometimes I'm sitting down and I'm comparing prices, and I'm thinking this is a little cheaper and this is a little more expensive. Yes, but what is the difference in percentage? And I'm not satisfied until I sit down with a pen and paper and calculate the percentage. Because I can do that. I can calculate percentages. I can calculate the time it takes to, if I need to go from one place to another, I can look at the map and I can calculate the time. But I cannot calculate the inconceivable, all-pervading Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is impossible. I need to take knowledge from someone else who has that knowledge. And in order to realize that knowledge, then I need Krishna's invitation. It's just like if I hear about someone and I think that sounds like a really nice person and I would like to get to know them, but I cannot sit in my home and, manufacture the dialogue. How will it be when I meet that person? No, I have to, send out some kind of connection. Like, do I know someone who knows that person? Maybe they can introduce me, and, and maybe that person will then be willing to talk to me. And then we can create a relationship. And it will be based on who we are for real, not who I dreamed it up on my room what it would be like. So with God, it's the same thing. He's a real, actual person. But he's pretty special. He's inconceivable. He's all-pervading. He's in everyone's heart at once, just like the sun. It's interesting. I just figured out I wanted to listen to Prabhupada's classes. Prabhupada, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, he translated Bhagavad-gita. He started the Hare Krishna movement, and he's our complete and perfect role model, of course. And I know so much was recorded when he was here. He came to America in 1965. He left this world 1977, and he would give at least every day a lecture or two, and so many other conversations were there. And I got these things on a disc, and they were sorted by the contents. So Bhagavad-gita first verse, second verse, so on. Bhagavatam first canto. And then I find it on the internet, and then I can listen to it in a chronological order. Where am I going with this? And then I was listening to one of the very first classes. Prabhupada came to New York, and he speaks the Bhagavad-gita, and they are recording it, and it's still there, and we can listen to it. So he's saying that, just like when you go out, the sun is on your head, and somebody else, the sun is also on their head. If he's in America, and somebody else is in Europe, and somebody else is in India. Of course, sometimes it's day in one place and night in another place. But if it's early morning in America, I think you can get like 10 hours difference or something, 12-hour difference. The sun is still there on my head, on your head. I mean, I'm in Sweden, he's in America, he's in India. Of course, now it's night, so now the sun is on nobody's head. But it's just one sun. I see it here, you see it there, but it's just one sun. So Vishnu, Super Soul, is in our hearts. In my heart, I'm in Sweden. I don't know where you are. Someone is in India, someone is in America. The same Vishnu is there. He's not limited. And we think, oh, it must be many. It must be many suns. One in Sweden and one in India. I read about a tourist who came to Sweden to see the midnight sun. And then he asks the guide, so where in the universe is this midnight sun situated? And he said, no, it's the same sun. There's just one sun. He says, oh, I have been cheated. I came all this way to look at the midnight sun, and I'm in America, I see the same sun. Why should I come here? So it's one sun, but the midnight sun is still special. So it's the same Lord. He's in everyone's heart. He manifests in different times, in different ways. But the best way to connect to him is to actually reach out to him in such a way that he becomes inspired to connect to you. And that's how devotional service is set up. We hear about Krishna, we chant his name, we connect with those devotees who already have that connection with him. And in this way, we can also become a perfect yogi. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Oh, yeah, I also wanted to say, of course, look below the field here. Please leave a comment or question. I will come back to you. I have left all kinds of links for if you want to get a Bhagavad-gita, if you want to find the temples, so many things. And please come back. Subscribe and all of that. Hare Krishna.
Thank you for watching. We aim for updates every Tuesday and Friday. Please come back. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down there. We also have some links and information for you. And there is, of course, the subscribe button. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
I'm a Hare Krishna, and I approve this message. Subscribe.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama.